Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today at Juanette's Crafting Corner. And before I get started, as always, I would like to thank some people for their comments. There were a lot of people that commented that they also sew their fur babies' toys. And Amy said she giggled when I showed how many toys that Fiona had. Mitzi has a Jack Russell, and she sometimes takes the stuffing out of the toys, but then she calls it a carcass. There's carcasses laying around, and I thought that was pretty funny. Carol has a dog named Angel. I got to meet Angel when Carol came up to Montana to just say hi to us at Gail Augustinelli's retreat. She also sews her puppies' toys. Steph said that she also loves detangling thread. And she said that when I was talking about the letter A for whoever, well, my friend whose first name starts with A, she says A stands for a lucky lady. And I said it actually stands for a lovely lady. Diana Campanelli, she has a 14-year-old dog that still has the original toy that the dog started with. DLR, she also sews her dog's toys, and there's one that's been sewed so many times they call it a Frankensnake. Let's see. Make sure you guys check out Found Treasures by Jean. She sells things that she curates, books and fabrics and all kinds of wonderful things to add to your journals. Louise lives in the UK, and when I told the story about using turn signals, she says it's required, but some people must think it's optional. So anyway, thank you so much for your comments, and let's get started on making some ephemera and filling some pockets. And make sure you watch the video because there is a problem that I solve with a pocket, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So let's get going. So now we get to do some of the fun stuff of decorating our December daily. Now, the one I'm going to use to decorate is my personal one because you guys know I did do a second one, and this is going to be gifted to a friend whose letter starts with A. But I'm going to do that off camera, so it's a little bit different and a little bit of a surprise for her. So let's get started. So remember, I've gone ahead and sewn in the signatures. And I ended up doing, I think it was a 5-hole pamphlet stitch. No, I did do a 3-hole. I thought I was going to do a 5-hole, but I only did a 3-hole. Doesn't matter. It's going to still work. But I did use some fabric to do a hidden spine. And so now I want to cover up these pages a little bit. And let's see, I kind of went ahead and pulled out some papers. One is this paper. I like the way it looks together. So I think I'm just going to glue that in. I like the green over there. So I'm going to just take some of my Beacons 3-in-1 glue and put it on the back of this page. And we'll go from there. So I had a very exciting day today at church. My grandson, who is 14 years old, spoke in church to the whole congregation. It was lovely. He did a wonderful job. We always have a youth speaker. And he spoke on being able to rely on Jesus Christ. We're Christians, but how we should rely on Christ in our life as we make decisions. He especially emphasized on being a teenager and using Christ as an example or as somebody who can help you make decisions in your life that will be good decisions and keep you basically on the right path. And that's it. That's all I'm going to talk about with church. But he did do a wonderful job, and I was very proud of him. He's a handsome young man. He is a freshman in high school, and he plays on the football team. And it's so wonderful that so many times I'm able to go to his football games because the high school is literally probably about 2 miles from me. So when they have a home game, I do go to his games to watch them. Now on this back cover here, I put this Christmas tree, and it's from some scrapbook paper, but when you run your hand over it, it is embossed. And so then I cut it a tiny bit short, but I thought I would add a pocket back there because that's where I usually put my letter from the journal maker. And I have this piece of music paper, and let's just trim it down and make a pocket out of it. Now, since it's kind of fragile paper, what I did is I glued 2 pieces together so that they were double in thickness. So it's pretty good size. And I want all that music to show, so I'm just going to cut that off there. And I think about there is perfect because then you can still see it looks like it's from a hymn book. So we will just use this as the pocket. And actually, I want to see all of that Christmas tree. So I'm going to even make it a little bit shorter here. So I'm going to bring this in here, cut that bottom off. And I actually am going to even cut off a little bit more of the top, just to make sure that that tree is seen. I'm actually even going to cut up a little bit more. Let's see about there. And you know what? I didn't realize that that's going to leave that like that. It's probably okay. I'm going to cut off a little bit more. You're like, you know what? I'm so fastidious. What can I say? Okay. I think that's going to be good enough. I'm going to go ahead and punch my thumb hole. It's going to be a pretty good pocket, pretty good strong pocket. If I do that, then it shows the tree a little bit better. Yeah, I think, oh yeah, that's fine. That's perfect right there. Let me bring that down. Yeah, so let's add some glue to that pocket. And then usually I would put the letter from the journal maker in there, but because this is going to be specifically for me, I won't have to do that because I know what to do with journals. I may have told you guys this, but my prayer journal that lights up with the lights, if you haven't seen that video, you should go over and take a look at it. I made a journal with a glass slide on the front, and I added lights, just the mini, oops, well, dang it, just the mini little fairy lights. And so you're able to actually turn on the lights behind the glass slide, and it's a picture of the Nativity. I think it's from like 1876. And it lights up. So, okay, so that's perfect there. Now I'm going to go back here to the front. And I do like to put in a label that says this journal belongs to. And I have them here. I have them all in a folder. I have everything from, Rachel's to some that I have taken from a, book and copied them. Then I had some I had bought. But I want to use one of my personal ones. I have these in my Etsy store. Let's see if that one. Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, I like that one. So we'll just use that one, and it's a perfect size. So before I put it down, I do want to kind of do a little decorative edge. With this punch here. Just kind of makes it a little bit fancier. I'm going to ink ever so slightly around the edge. I don't do heavy inking, but it does help it stand out if you do a little bit of inking. And then I think I will just put that up there, and then once again I will add a pocket to the bottom there. So it's a gorgeous day here today. I have both the front and back door open, and there is a slight breeze. I think it's going to be no higher than like the mid 60s. Yeah, I like that. That's perfect there. Some of them say this book belongs to, and some of them say this journal belongs to. But even though it's not specifically Christmas, I think that goes okay. I think that's perfect. And let's see here. I do have this vellum pocket. It's a pocket that two-sided pocket. And let's see, where do we want this? Okay, I think I'm going to have that as a tuck. It's got to be a pretty plain piece of paper, and I'm going to tell you why. Because if I put it like, for instance, here, you're going to cover that up, and you're not going to see that Santa as well. So I like to try to pick a plain paper. Like I've got that red one there. Let's see where else. And then I have the red one here. Now here I have written, this is my own coffee dyed paper. I have written there, Merry Christmas in French. And if I put it there, That would be okay. Not my favorite. Let's go over here. I think I have some green too. Oh, let's see here. That might be really good. Oh, I like it. I think I like it a little bit better there. Yeah, I do like the green. Okay, so I'm going to add this pocket here. I made it out of vellum. I did cut this here because I just thought to myself, why waste that vellum by having it doubled here, because then it kind of mutes the vellum. So what I do is I just kind of put it where I want it to be. I am going to grab I have a fine tip glue applicator here. It really does have a very fine tip. And let's just kind of see where we want that, down kind of low. And I'm going to put my glue here and along here. And then I fold it over. Okay, and so then we have glue on the bottom and the side. Then I turn it over, open it back up, and then I add the glue to 3 of the sides and then press it down. I don't know what's going on with my phone. It keeps saying it doesn't have any more storage, but I don't want to buy a new phone. Anyway, I do have some things that I've made in previous years. I've got this little card here. I believe it was a freebie from Artie Mays. I added a little bit of embossed paper on the corner here, some fabric up here, and then some Nuvo drops, or what are those things called? Sparkles or stickles. Yeah, stickles there. And so I can slide this card in there. And then this fabric is folding over. But if I hold it like that and then turn it like that, hopefully it will stay like that. And then I have this tag that I made last year. It's got some German script here. A little label that says Deck the Halls, Rudolph, some deer here. I added some fabric there. It's a plain back with a little bit of a wraparound of a digital kit, and so I thought that would slide in there nicely. I do like having things kind of stick up from the top of the journal, at least fabric. So that goes in there nicely. And then let's take a look at this page here. It needs a little bit of decorating. And I've shown you this before, you guys, where I go ahead and I cut out everything from the kit in advance, whether it be, envelopes, pockets, side tucks, things like that, because I like having them done in advance. But let's see here about adding some decorative paper there. I think that needs to be a little bit bigger, so that won't do there. Before we decorate that, let me show you something that I had done. I had taken some beeswax and I had put it over these prints that were in the kit. And then I put them, after the beeswax was melted, I put them over music paper, and then I backed them with just some plain cardstock so that they would look nice and you'd be able to journal on them. So let's stick Santa in this pocket. I like him there. And then he kind of will peek out from there, but I need to add a little bit of a topper there first. So let me go ahead and do some of those things, and then I'll be back with you guys. So this is what I ended up doing is I punched a hole, put an eyelet in there, and then put just some crinkled seam binding. But I do want to show you something. You guys saw me struggle to get this out of here. I was pulling it like this and I was almost ready to rip the paper. So we need to fix that. And I'm going to show you my idea of what we can do to fix that. So I think we have way too much space here. Plus it's upside down. The writing is upside down. So I need to turn it around. And what I'm going to do is just take my scissors and trim this down as best I can. So to about there, to right where the beginning of the music starts. And then let's go across. Okay, so that makes that area that I was struggling to get the tag out of, it makes it smaller. So let me just cut this here. Okay, so I do have a little bit of paper here, but because I had already glued that down, it's kind of there to stay. I will fix it a little bit. I'm going to trim off a tiny bit. And then I think once I put down this piece of paper, it will help. So I cut this paper here because I do want this part of the pocket to be a little bit stronger. And I actually can even cut it a little bit more. So let me pull out my paper trimmer here. And let's trim off just a fraction more. I don't think it needs to be quite that tall. So we'll pull off just a little bit, okay? And then we will glue it down. So what we're going to do is we're going to glue it here, but I want to make sure that I don't get glue underneath here because I want that tag to fit underneath there. So what I'm going to do is just take a small pencil, and I want it about like that. Oh, it needs to come over a little bit. So I need to put glue there to about there. Well, you guys, this video is actually turning out to be quite comical because now that I got my phone to actually record for this part of the video, I forgot to put my microphone on, so I'm having to do a voiceover. So as you can see, I'm applying glue in between those two pencil marks that I had marked off. And I feel like I need a little bit more glue up toward the top there. And then I'm going to add that piece of Christmas cardstock there. So you can see I'm still going to have more than enough room to be able to slip that tag in. And I used my Beacons 3-in-1 glue, but I still feel like there needs to be something along the side there. And so I've been kind of thinking, okay, what can I put there? And I had pulled out some washi tape, but it once again looked too thin. I need something wider. So what I'm going to do is once again turn the camera off, search for something to put there, and when I turn the camera on again, I once again forgot to put on my microphone. So I will continue with the voiceover. So I found this piece of cardstock. It's I think a piece of Stampin' Up! Cardstock, and I cut it to about the size of what that corner tuck would be. I could either use the plaid material or that deer printed material. The only thing about the deer printed material is it was a little bit too white on that one side, so I've decided to go with the plaid. And off camera up above, I'm just rounding those corners a little bit so that they're not quite so square. And I'm just going to take some Beacons 3-in-1 glue, add it to the back of this piece, and attach it to the flipped over part of that music paper because it's just a little bit too flimsy, and I am afraid that when I go to pull the tag in and out that I will rip it, but this will help solve that problem. And then I'm just going to take the tag, slip it in the little corner tuck pocket there and see what it looks like. And I think it looks pretty good. But I think I can still add one more element to make it look even better. Well, let's hope that the camera stays on now, and I do have my microphone on. So I think it just needs one more little element there. And so I'm going to pull in my labels. These are Roxy Creation labels here. And then I've got some of her other labels, some other people's things, some tabs and what have you. But this was the one I was thinking about, this one right here. And I'll tell you why. It's because this page here, when you turn it over, it's talking about the manger. And I thought, well, I really don't want there to be a Santa Claus there. I think it needs to be something that is not like Santa Claus like. So this could be another one here. Well, no, that's kind of Santa there. So we're going to say no to that. Let me look again. So we got the little girl here, but I've got the Santa on the other side. So we're going to say no to the little girl, no to the Santa. That's good. We got the reindeer Santa. No, that won't work. This one, that's, well, no, I just don't think that is the right one. This one would maybe work. Looks like there's a kitty cat there. I'm going to say no to that one too. I think I'm going to go to my original one. Now, one of these would also work, but I want something more of an image on the one side over here. So I think if I put this here, like that. Glue that down there. It kind of cuts that up a little bit, makes it not quite so stark and just like blunt. And then I've got this coming over here, and I like that. I think we're good with that. So let me just take my finger and do a nice crease there. I'm going to add some glue to the whole label, both sides, and slip that on there. And then I'm going to call it a video. I'm a little bit nervous about filming more without the microphone, failing or forgetting to put it on. And I need to go through my phone and just delete a bunch of videos that are no longer relative or important or whatever. So we're just going to put that like that. And then we've got a little bit, like I said, of the label here. And what I could have done is actually had it out a little bit more, so it would have helped you turn the page, but it's already down and done, so we're gonna call it good. But like always, you guys, thanks so much for joining me, and I appreciate each and every one of you. I think that page came out nice. I think we're on a roll now. So anyway, I will talk to you guys again soon. Thanks and bye-bye.